The lobby of Sterling Heights Financial was unusually busy on Monday morning. Executives hurried toward the elevators, clients checked their watches, and the receptionist, Melissa, struggled to keep up with the constant stream of visitors. Just before 9 o'clock, the automatic doors opened, and a woman in a wheelchair quietly entered the building. She wore simple clothes, carried a leather folder on her lap, and looked around as if making sure she was in the right place. Melissa barely looked up. "Delivery entrance is around the back," she said without asking why the woman had come. The visitor smiled politely. "I'm actually here for the board meeting." Melissa laughed. "The board meeting? That's invitation only." "I understand. Do you have an invitation?" "I don't need one." The receptionist rolled her eyes. "Everyone says that." Several people waiting nearby exchanged uncomfortable glances. The woman remained calm. "My name is Victoria Hayes." Melissa typed the name into the visitor system. Nothing appeared because the meeting participants weren't listed there. "I don't see your name." "That's expected." Melissa crossed her arms. "Then I'm afraid you can't go upstairs." Victoria nodded. "Would you mind calling Mr. Daniel Carter?" Melissa sighed dramatically. "The CEO is busy. He isn't coming down for random visitors. I'm sure he'll want to know I'm here." Before Melissa could answer, security approached after hearing the discussion. "Is there a problem?" Melissa answered first. "She keeps insisting she belongs in the board meeting." The guard looked at Victoria respectfully. "Ma'am, do you have identification?" Victoria handed over a simple ID card with only her name. No company title. No special badge. The guard hesitated. Melissa whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear. "People really think confidence can get them anywhere." A few visitors chuckled. Victoria simply folded her hands. "I don't mind waiting." 5 quiet minutes passed. Then the elevator doors suddenly opened. The company's operations manager, Ethan Brooks, stepped into the lobby while checking messages on his phone. The moment he looked toward the reception desk, his face lost all color. "Oh no!" Without another word, he hurried across the marble floor. Melissa smiled confidently. "Don't worry, sir. I handled." He ignored her completely. Stopping in front of Victoria, Ethan apologized. "Miss Hayes, I'm deeply sorry. We had no idea you had arrived." The entire lobby fell silent. Melissa stared in confusion. "You know her?" Ethan looked shocked. "Know her?" He turned toward everyone gathered nearby. "This is Ms. Victoria Hayes." He lowered his voice. "She is the majority shareholder." People stopped walking. Even the security guard straightened immediately. Melissa blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" Ethan swallowed. "She owns 51% of Sterling Heights Financial." The receptionist felt the color drain from her face. Everything she had assumed during the last 10 minutes suddenly came crashing down. And upstairs, the board members had just been informed that the company's largest owner was waiting downstairs. The news spread through the building faster than anyone expected. Board members rushed from the conference room. Department heads left meetings unfinished. Within moments, the CEO himself entered the lobby almost at a run. "Victoria!" He smiled warmly before shaking her hand. "I'm terribly sorry. We expected you through the private entrance." Victoria returned the smile. "I prefer to see the company the same way every visitor does." Daniel understood exactly what she meant. He glanced toward the reception desk, where Melissa stood frozen. The CEO helped Victoria toward the executive elevator before quietly asking, "Would you like me to handle this?" Victoria answered gently, "Let's have everyone join us upstairs first." Minutes later, the boardroom became unusually quiet. Every executive waited as Victoria positioned her wheelchair at the head of the long table. Minnie had never met the investor whose trust had saved the company years earlier. She looked around calmly. This morning wasn't about embarrassing anyone. She paused. It was about understanding our culture. No one spoke. I entered this building as an ordinary visitor. She continued. I wasn't looking for special treatment. I simply expected basic respect. Several executives lowered their eyes. The receptionist didn't know who I was. Victoria smiled. That's perfectly fine. What isn't fine is assuming someone's importance based on appearance. Silence filled the room. The CEO nodded slowly. You're right. Victoria opened her folder. I've reviewed employee surveys over the past year. She projected charts showing complaints about customer service and workplace attitude. The problem is bigger than one conversation. She proposed mandatory customer service training, leadership coaching, and new standards emphasizing dignity and respect for every visitor and employee. Every board member voted in favor. Later that afternoon, Melissa requested a private meeting with Victoria. I owe you an apology. Victoria listened quietly. I judged you before I even asked why you were here. I'm ashamed of that. Victoria smiled kindly. The apology matters. Melissa looked surprised. I thought I'd be fired. Victoria shook her head. People can learn. But learning begins when we admit our mistakes. Over the next several months, Sterling Heights Financial transformed its workplace culture. Employees were trained to greet every visitor with patience, professionalism, and respect, regardless of appearance, clothing, age, or disability. When new hires asked why the company cared so much about first impressions, the manager simply pointed toward a framed plaque in the lobby. It read, Respect should never depend on who someone is. It should be the first thing you offer and the last thing you take away. And from that day forward, every person who entered the building was welcomed with the dignity they deserved.